Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming to this session on governance of Power-to-X technologies. My name is Amine KABBAJ. I'm from the Amadeus Institute, and I'll have the honor and privilege to moderate this session with two amazing panelists and one that will do her intervention virtually. So this is a crucial topic that we're facing that is shaping our energy future. These technology have the potential to revolutionize the way we produce, we store and utilize energy. But in order to harness this potential, we must establish effective governance models. Throughout our discussion, we will hear from our different panelists and their diverse perspectives on this subject and on these critical questions. I will not take much longer, and I will first, invite you to approach maybe and come closer to the podium if you want, and we'll embark on this journey to find solutions, foster innovation, and ensure that these technologies contribute to a sustainable and equitable future for all. So let's start first with Ms. Rosalinde van der VLIES, who chose to save on her carbon footprint and chose to do her
distinguished guests. I'm very honored to speak to you today and discuss a topic of great importance for our shared future. The world is undergoing a transformative energy transition. The need to address climate change, reduce carbon emissions, and secure sustainable energy sources has never been more urgent. And it is within this context that Power-to-X are key technologies to reshape the energy landscape of tomorrow. The European Green Deal puts the European Union on a pathway to climate neutrality by 2050. This requires significantly higher shares of renewable energy sources in the system. Currently, represents 95% of gaseous fuels consumed in the European Union and accounts for 25% of the EU's total energy consumption. While the share of natural gas will progressively decrease, biomethane, synthetic methane, and hydrogen are expected to become much more relevant in the future years. However, these alternatives to natural gas face a number of barriers. And in order to successfully deploy Power-to-X technologies, I believe we need to focus on four key building blocks. First, we need a clear, ambitious, and shared strategic vision. In Europe, we have a hydrogen strategy and a Repower EU plan. And together, this is a comprehensive framework to support the uptake of renewable and low-carbon hydrogen to help decarbonize the European Union. The Repower EU plan aims to produce 10 million tons of renewable hydrogen in the EU, as well as to import 10 million tons of renewable hydrogen, and all this by 2030. The focus of these actions is to accelerate the uptake of renewable hydrogen, but also ammonia and other derivatives in the hard-to-decarbonize sectors. Second, we need a supportive regulatory framework and common standards. In the EU, we have a Fit for 55 package, and these result in laws that have translated the European hydrogen strategy into concrete European hydrogen regulatory framework. This includes measures to set targets for the uptake of renewable hydrogen in industry and transport by 2030. It also includes measures to support the creation of a dedicated infrastructure for hydrogen, as well as efficient hydrogen markets. Moreover, our laws also set ambitious targets, for instance, for the use of synthetic fuels in the areas of aviation and waterborne. As third building block, we need massive investments in Power-to-X technologies, both in research and innovation and in deployment. Thanks to European investments in research 20 megawatts per electrolyzer today. The final building block is international collaboration. The European Union's international engagement is essential to accelerate the clean energy transition of partner countries, notably by supporting deployment of renewable energy sources and also scaling up its own renewable hydrogen imports. Let me highlight 3 initiatives in this context. First, the European Commission co-leads the Clean Hydrogen Mission of Mission Innovation, which is a global initiative to accelerate the clean energy transitions globally and make clean energy transition affordable, attractive, and accessible for all. Let me take the opportunity to express my appreciation here for the involvement of Morocco in Mission Innovation as a full member, as well as a member of the Clean Hydrogen Mission of Mission Innovation. And I'd like to encourage other countries to join this mission. Second, through the green hydrogen partnerships, the Commission promotes the imports of renewable hydrogen from third countries, and also the Commission incentivizes decarbonization and the development of renewable energy production for domestic uses. Third, the European Hydrogen Bank will also have an international leg, which aims to support renewable hydrogen partnerships and facilitates investments and the development of the necessary regulatory framework. This will include activities under the Global European Hydrogen Facility that is being developed in close collaboration with European Union countries, the European Union Energy Platform, and also international energy partners. To conclude, there is not one silver bullet to address the existing barriers of the Power-to-X technologies. We must seize the opportunities of international cooperation to successfully support and deploy Power-to-X technologies. I'm therefore very much looking forward to our continued cooperation in the framework of Mission Innovation, as well as through Horizon Europe, our framework program for research and innovation, which is open to collaboration with international partners. Together, we will unleash the full potential of the wide range of Power-to-X processes, turning the potential into progress and energy, and ensuring a brighter future for all. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you to Rosalinde van der Vlies, who's the director of the Clean Planet Directorate in the European Commission's Director General for Research and Innovation and Deputy Mission Manager of the Climate Neutral and Smart Cities Mission. I will now leave the floor to Nassef Safwan, who is a Senior Program Officer and DAPA Lead Morocco at the Global Green Growth Institute for his introductory remarks.
Thank you all. Thank you for assisting to this panel discussion to discuss about governance of green hydrogen. I will briefly go through the presentation of the Global Green Growth Institute very briefly and also explain the GGI Global Green Hydrogen Program that we are conducting throughout the world through 4 countries now. So next slide, please. So just to give you a little background about GGI. So GGI is called Green Growth, Global Green Growth Institute. It's international intergovernmental international development organization. It's also an international treaty-based organization that was created in Rio 2012 and the summit in Brazil. And the point of this creation is to collect and disseminate the climate finance for developing countries. So GGI has now more than 50 countries that and partners that are members of GGI, and we are supporting these countries in field related to green growth, including water, energy, waste, and also carbon markets. So our model briefly, what we are doing now, everybody knows that green hydrogen, even if we are saying that green hydrogen is not new, but we can say throughout the world that there is not enough initiatives that are really concrete in green hydrogen. So for now, we are supporting different countries in two ways. So the first one is to have an approach learning by doing. That means that we are contacting countries that are interested to develop, for example, their regulatory framework or development policies. So we are going to start like from the basics and prepare the ground, and also speak with different stakeholders and also government counterpart in order to develop these policies or regulations. So so this is the first one. And the second one that I just mentioned earlier is that we, in some countries, that there is no discussion yet in terms of regulation and policies, we start by developing pilot projects. So this pilot project, before developing them, you need to conduct pre-feasibility studies, feasibility studies, and also many other studies that can lead us to have concrete and business model and something that we can prepare for the country to attract investment. So we did this, for example, in Indonesia, and we have that in India, and in Nepal, for example. We started by regulation. So this is what we do. So in preparing the grounds, we do, for example, landscape assessment, green hydrogen project identification, and also do many capacity building sessions for all stakeholders involved in the sector. Next. So this is briefly to explain. I don't know if it's, yeah, okay. So step one is the situation analysis. So we go through the process in the country to see how they are in terms of readiness to put in place green hydrogen projects. So next step is the government buy-in to sign letter of interest, and later steps, for example, saying MOUs with public institution or government in order to start concretely the work. For the next step is what I described in the last slide, is to start pre-feasibility study and to develop the business model. So with this business model, just I forgot to mention that this feasibility and pre-feasibility studies are financed through a grant from GGI for the majority of the situation. And after that, with this business model, we attract investment and also more grants, or at least it's difficult to say it's in this for the case of green hydrogen, but the off-takers now it's difficult to find in this situation that we can maybe explain later in the challenges. So the next step is to find these investors, find off-takers, and this way GGI will end his mission and its mission, and now we let the country lead their project, either through the pilot project or to continue put in place the strategy. Next step. Next. So this is something that we are going to talk when we are going to speak about challenges. So, but I list only three aspects that for me they are very important for effective governance. Is the policy development and coordination. When I say coordination, of course, it's stakeholder engagement, and also to put in place the regulation and policy. So in my opinion, international cooperation is also very, very important in order to strengthen the situation in the country, and also prepare for the readiness and make the green hydrogen project attractive to investors. Yeah, so maybe not to not take a long time in the presentation, so I give the floor to Amine.
Thank you, Nassif, for going overall the whole, not only the whole topic, but also the work, the amazing work you're doing in Morocco and around the world. Let me now give the floor After he got a sip, he's getting a sip of water, to Alex Hewitt, who is the founder of CWP Global, focusing on the development of his organization portfolio of ultra-large scale green hydrogen projects across the globe, for his introductory remarks as well.
Thank you very much. And I'd like to thank everyone personally for being here. I think there are about 30 people in the room. Bravo, thank you. But we do get a comfy chair up here, which is nice. Look, maybe it's the word governance. It's a pretty dry subject, really, isn't it? I don't think we're going to have a whole room full of people packed in. I think you summarized it really well. I mean, I sit here, I'm kind of in a slightly different environment. I don't advise governments, we're a developer. So, but for what it's worth, I can certainly throw out some of my thoughts, advice, some of the things we're seeing elsewhere in the world as well. I think those 3 points were spot on, by the way, in terms of what's needed. It's clarity, risk reduction brings capital. And I forgot what the middle one was, but it was important. Look, you know, there's, what have I heard? Targets, roadmaps, policies, lots and lots of work, lots of good work being done by people. I think in the world today, there are well over 50 country hydrogen roadmaps, or hydrogen codes, or hydrogen, you know, whatever. It's kind of interesting. The sector is moving so quickly that by the time the hydrogen roadmap is prepared, they've got to move it around a little bit. It's always playing catch up. But look, I don't want to dismiss this topic. It's so important for a government to look at its resources, to land, and of course wind and solar. We were talking about green. That's an important resource. They have to allocate it properly. They have to allocate it sustainably. They have to make sure that the public-private partnerships, the private sector coming in, is going to do the right thing. And there are many objectives. So it starts at the top, where recognizing governance is not some form of academic journey. It's the articulation of the government's vision of what they want for the country. And it's things like economic and social impact, a positive impact. The projects that we're doing are huge. They're enormous. They will have an immense impact on regions and in some cases entire countries. So it's an opportunity. It's a golden opportunity at the moment. Some countries are not blessed with fossil fuels. They're blessed with other resources. And we're right now at a turning point in the energy transition. It's a turning point in history. I think most individuals find it hard to contemplate the magnitude of this transition. It's mind-bogglingly big. And unfortunately, in terms of climate change, when we look at it through the lens of what's happening in the world today, we are 10 years behind, and we are not going to catch up. So when it comes to the challenge of someone laying down how they would like to govern, to come back to that word, to bring in capital, to allocate resources, it's difficult because it's hard to have pricing competitions because no one knows what the market is. There are very few pricing points out there. Even the technology prices are coming down as well. So there's a great deal of uncertainty out there, and there's a great deal of urgency. So when you combine a level of uncertainty with a level of urgency, it becomes challenging. So that was the other, I think, the question. What are the challenges? I mean, you could list them. It's quite long, but I think one of the objectives should be simplicity and speed. Obviously, transparency, sustainability, fairness. I think they're all in there. But how do you wrap those up and then implement a process where you can move? From what I understand here in Morocco, it's an excellent process. I think it's about to start properly. We, as a company, have now projects in 7 countries, different ways of doing it. All I'll say is the 2 most advanced projects, a big one in Australia, a $35 billion project, which we will aim to commence construction already in the back end of 2025, but certainly 2026. That's moving very quickly. The other one is just south of Morocco in Mauritania. Now, actually, neither country had a hydrogen roadmap when we came in. No, I think when they looked at their legislation, most of the legislation was there already. It wasn't a whole new raft of laws that had to be done just because it had the word hydrogen in it. Most of the legislation was in there. Most of the policy was in there. And I know you're working on things like this with governments, which of course, and the key is to find a quick and simple route through, because time is of the essence. And in both in Mauritania as well as Australia, we're getting well advanced. Things are moving very quickly. I'm going to let go of the microphone for a second because it's a very broad topic and maybe there are some more specific questions.
These were supposed to be introductory remarks, but you obviously covered both of you a large spectrum of the topic. I would like to ask Nassif about the maybe from your from the work you're doing in conjunction with the with government bodies. What do you see as key, I would say, challenges and opportunities of this governance related to Power-to-X technologies?
Okay, as already said, it's a broad topic, so so maybe I will keep it with the big challenges that that we faced with the governments, either Morocco or other governments. Is the first one is the regulatory framework. So the main important thing to do is to establish clear and supportive regulatory framework, because the majority of regulations that are already in the country are not adapted to green hydrogen. For example, if I can say, for example, in Morocco, so we have regulation related to the renewable energy sector, but it's it doesn't fit neatly to the green hydrogen needs. So we should update this regulation with the regulatory bodies, and also improve engaging with the private sector and all the stakeholders that are concerned in each country. And each country has a specific way of doing things. But in general, it should be like that. The government partner with regulatory bodies, private sector, and other institutions in order to update, or at least or maybe create another regulation that will fit perfectly for the green hydrogen system, in order to create visibility and transparency for investors that come to each country. So this is very broadly. So creating market for Power-to-X, whether they are green hydrogen or synthetic fuels. So this can be challenging due to market dynamics, as you know, all this price competitiveness. So the price are very high at the moment. And also if infrastructure requirements, if we can, for example, focus on infrastructure, for example, this is very costly, that include production, distribution, also storage, equip the ports, and also transport, whether it's going to be green hydrogen, liquefied green hydrogen, whether it will be ammonia. And even if we put this in place, we should find off-takers that are ready to take this final product. So this is for now as challenges, but for a solution, maybe the government should for example, offer incentives, subsidies, or maybe involved into partnership, PPP, public-private partnerships, in order to make this happen, because I don't think that a country can do this by their own means. What we can say also about Power-to-X technology challenges is that we know that Power-to-X technologies can reduce greenhouse gas emissions, and this is general understanding. But if we don't put these technologies in a way that will be sustainable, that will create unintended environmental impact. So we should also put in place regulations that take that into consideration and don't have the opposite outcome that we want to achieve from green hydrogen, which is to reduce greenhouse gas and decarbonize the industry. We can also mitigate that by robust environmental impact assessments, and also including each green hydrogen project or regulation a part related to carbon finance, carbon market, in order to include this in the business model as this innovative solution as described in the Article 6 of the Paris Agreement. So these projects are certainly additional because they are now not profitable at all. So we can include this dimension of carbon finance, which is generally in terms of grants, and this will also encourage the countries to also develop the Article 6 of the Paris Agreement in order to have international cooperation, and that will allow this country to benefit from carbon finance and also to put in place this type of project. So this is what I think from the challenges, but of course there is many other challenges related to green hydrogen. You cannot list them all. But yeah, everybody is more aware of the opportunities. This is allowing the countries to decarbonize the energy systems, and also energy security when using Power-to-X solutions, and also reduce dependence on fossil fuels, participate in climate change. So economic development, create jobs, create another ways of doing business in the country, attract investors, and also create different markets in the country through all the value chain of the green hydrogen. And each part of the value chain is a business on itself, and it's creating a lot of opportunities for the country. And also what is important is that Power-to-X is also fostering international cooperation between countries through export and import of green hydrogen or the derivative product. And this international collaboration can help also have a common understanding of the international standard to put in place standard agreements. And so this is, in my opinion, some opportunities and challenges that could be covered in general, not specific to a country.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much. Unfortunately, as you said, we have time constraints. So in 40 minutes, it's impossible for us to cover the whole topic. But let me ask you, Alex, you stopped in your previous intervention talking about the opportunities and challenges. Maybe from your private sector standpoint, do you have anything else to add, or maybe you can also elaborate on Nassif's point on international cooperation? Maybe talk about what is being done at the moment with the whole certification point issue. I would say not issue, but topic.
Yeah, I mean, in a word, certification is essential. It's a foundation. And at the moment, there are a number of bodies working on various different certificate regimes. Ideally, we would have an internationally recognized certification scheme that looks at carbon intensity and effectively gives every molecule, a birth certificate to exactly where it came from and what level of carbon intensity it had, and to track it. And I think there are some very intelligent people and bodies doing a lot of work in this area. There's already emerging certification in Europe. I know there's certification in Australia at this stage. It's fundamental. If it doesn't happen, how can an off-taker know whether he's buying a green fuel, or whether it's partially green, then how green is it? And then when we finally move to the ultimate stage, which the world should be in now, where you have an internationally recognized carbon price, without certification, policing, regulation, it all falls apart. It's a foundation. So that's needed very, very quickly. But I know work is happening in this. I mean, when the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act, came in the US, of course, it identified blue and green and various shades in between. You've got to have certification to be able to judge that and to give an end user the confidence on what they are buying. So it's a short answer. Absolutely fundamental. I think when it comes to some other international policy, look, the subsidies and the helping mechanism should be at the market end, the user end. We've had some discussions about it here. I don't think Morocco needs to go down subsidy routes or anything like that. We need market pull. What else can I say? On the domestic side, for domestic offtake, there can be some help there. Help to, on procurement, for example. I think in the US, they're looking at government procurement of steel. They procure a lot of steel. So if they say we are only going to procure certified green steel, that kicks that market off. It's very helpful. In Australia, there's a number of policies there that are helping. I think they're a bit slow, they're coming on. So there is enabling policy. And then there is this overarching international policy around certification. And look, I'm an optimist. I think all the various certification regimes, the policies, all the work being done will converge. One day the world will wake up and say, we just need an international carbon price, and that's going to drive everything. It should have been in place 20 years ago. Then we wouldn't be here having this discussion. We'd be actually acting on things. Lastly, I'll just say on regulation, keep it simple and don't over-regulate. Need to act quickly.
Thank you very much. Jumping on the keep it simple that you just mentioned, what's being in Morocco, we would love to hear about what's going on in Morocco in terms of governance model. Nassif, would you like to elaborate on that maybe a little bit more?
Yeah, why not? So I think that we hear a lot of news about Morocco and what is it doing right now in green hydrogen. So maybe you will change the speech from what we already heard, that Morocco has a lot of solar and wind potential, and the willingness of developing storage in the country, and Morocco to attract great investment. So I will maybe speak differently to go to an aspect that I think was not developed, is the preparedness for Morocco industry for the CBAM. So as you know, so we have this international taxation from European Union that is going to start in 2026. And Morocco should be prepared in order to avoid this taxation through this. So the green hydrogen, the potential of green hydrogen in this is that we can abate some hardly abated industries with green hydrogen that we cannot do with other technologies. And of course, I'm not saying that that Morocco is going to start doing everything because of CBAM, but it's also it's only to say that it will be, I don't know if it's the right word, but it's motivation, or maybe they are forced to adapt to international markets. So apart from CBAM, so Morocco is now, as I said before, the green hydrogen regulation is not perfectly fit to what already exists in the country. For example, here Morocco is developing two regulations, two laws that are related to development of renewable energy. So the one is called 1419, which is related to power wheeling and for free markets, and the other law is the law related to self-generation. Yeah, of course, we have also the law of Mazen, but it's already created, and I will only speak about the new regulation that is ongoing now. So this law will be fully operational early next year, and this will unlock the potential of green hydrogen for renewable energy in the country for all type of voltage, all type of size, and this will help also the green hydrogen to develop. But saying so, it's also necessary to update this regulatory framework, and this is what Morocco is doing now through this Moroccan offer that will be presented, I think, maybe in end of the year or something, in order to clarify the regulatory framework, and also to cover the entire value chain of the green hydrogen in the country, and also the master plan for the necessary steps for infrastructure. So coming back to the renewable energy, so here in the country as GGI, we are developing a program in order to incentivize industrial customers and also IPPs in order to develop the renewable energy solutions that are not profitable at this stage. So the projects that are already profitable, of course, they are not eligible to carbon finance, but the projects that are necessitating storage, integrating green hydrogen, or they are far from the grid or need grid reinforcement, this project could be eligible for carbon finance. And this is what we are developing under the DAPA program design Arctic 6 policy approach. So we are supporting this type of non-profitable renewable energy projects, and this will also, of course, include green hydrogen projects, and they are very expensive. So if I can add more on that, yes? Okay, I will be fast. So just to say what Morocco is doing now. So apart from this this Morocco offer, we have Morocco has created the green hydrogen cluster that is including more than 40 actors, including private and public sector. And Morocco also have developed and starting some pilot projects, mainly with OCP and Mazen, in order to have this approach that I explained earlier, that learning by doing, and have some prototype to show to the world and see the feasibility of the thing if we put in the country. There is also the way to develop. Morocco is also developing research and development platforms in order to encourage universities and also all the stakeholders that are interested to see all the value chain of green hydrogen, also to support them in this prototype. So yeah, not to be very.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Alex and Nassif, for your great input. I'll use my privilege as a moderator just to thank the happy few that are here and hear from them for one or two questions very quickly. I know time is up, and the organizers are looking at me and almost angry at me because I used this privilege. But I'll give you the chance to ask one or two questions to our amazing panelists. if there are any questions. If not, no questions whatsoever. Thank you, Alex, and thank you, Nassif. Do you have anything to add to conclude?
I can't help myself. Sorry, I got to say something very, very positive. Morocco will be a superpower in terms of PTX and in terms of renewable energy. Of course, it's blessed with it. It's right on the brink of doing something very exciting. We talk about hydrogen, let's not forget electricity. If you can electrify things, you do it that way. So there is going to be huge investments as we electrify everything. This transition is enormous, and countries like Morocco will really see massive positive benefits. So this is exciting, and I think I feel this whole conference is right on the brink. It's a turning point. People might look back and say, I remember that conference in Marrakesh when we were trying to get the governance right and everyone, and the offer Morocco was about to come out. And again, big stuff, big projects have big impacts. I've seen it in other countries, including my own in Australia, with the extractive industries in the resource sector. Mistakes have been made. We've all heard of the resource curse. That's not to say miners are evil. We need mining. We need all of these things, but there's a right way to do it. So how the government deal with that, how they not only get the investment in, but bring in back taxes, boost exports, create large sovereign wealth funds for the future of the country. This is all wrapped up in this big picture, and it's happening right now, or about to happen. It's exciting.
Perfect. Thank you again. Thank you all for having been here and for your great participation in being here, your presence. And this is time for us to wrap up. Thank you again. And let's take probably a group photo.